Okay, now let's look into the matter of how abscisic acid regulates the stomatal opening and closing. Stomata is a very important structure in the plant leaves that regulates the intake of carbon dioxide, oxygen and water from the environment by the plants. And abscisic acid play a very important role in terms of opening and closing the stomata. Plants need to open the stomata during daytime in order to get the carbon dioxide and water. And also plant need to prevent the stomatal opening during very hot temperatures to prevent the water evaporation. So here we will see that in the presence of sunlight the stomata must open, and in presence of sunlight there is no role of abscisic acid, no presence of abscisic acid. As a result, the stomatal will be opened. The stomatal opening and closure are regulated by known as the guard cells. Two guard cells and one simple pore in the center, as you can see in this picture. And this guard cell will get a rush of water during the daytime. During daytime, water start to flow inside of this guard cell, make this guard cell really turgid, as a result of which the stomata gets opened. But when there is no sunlight, then there is secretion of abscisic acid, and as a result of release of abscisic acid, the abscisic acid binds to the abscisic acid receptor, and due to some cell signaling processes, ultimately this guard cell loses water, and as a result the guard cells will become flaccid and the stomata will close up. So let's see how exactly this abscisic acid regulates the stomatal opening and closure. And this stomatal opening and closure, there are different components important. One of such component is the vacuole and endoplasmic reticulum that are present inside these cells. Particularly here the specific calcium storage vacuoles of the guard cells are important. Apart from them, there are different ion channels, like positive ion channels of potassium channel and calcium channel. Both are present in the membrane of the guard cell as well as in the vacuole membrane. And then chloride ion channels that are present again in the vacuole as well as in the guard cell membrane. Apart from that, there is a proton pump present in the guard cell membrane that usually pumps proton H+ from the guard cell outside of the cell. And these potassium transporters are of two types, influx as well as efflux. Influx takes potassium inside, efflux takes potassium outside. But the chloride channels that we find in the surface of the guard cell membrane are export channels only. And the most important thing is the abscisic acid receptor that is found on the surface of this guard cell. And the signaling begins when there is a ligand. In this case, the abscisic acid act as a ligand, will bind to the abscisic acid receptor or ABAR. And due to this interaction, there is a cell membrane associated component known as phospholipase C and produces inositol trisphosphate or IP3. This IP3 can easily go and interact with the calcium channels in the vacuole and allow the calcium to be transported from vacuole into the guard cell cytosol. As a result, what we see is a calcium influx. This is the primary calcium influx. This abscisic acid receptor, once activated, also activate reactive oxygen species or ROS. This reactive oxygen species example is H2O2. Simply, this reactive oxygen species also causes the calcium influx channels to drive more calcium ions inside this guard cell. So what happens is a secondary calcium influx. So both this calcium influx causes high calcium concentration inside the guard cell. This high calcium concentration have two different consequences. These calciums will go and interact to the potassium influx carriers, and what it does is deactivating the potassium influx carrier. As a result, potassium ions cannot be transported inside of the guard cell. These calcium ions also move and interact to the chloride export channels, and they allow chlorides Cl- to be exported out of the guard cell outside. This calcium also interacts to the proton pump and inhibits the function of the proton pump. As a result, the proton cannot be pumped out, so there is a high concentration of H+ building up in the guard cell, making the guard cell inside ambience acidic and outside alkaline. And as a result of this high concentration of chloride, potassium efflux channels or exporters are activated, which will start taking up potassium outside. To compensate this balance of potassium outflow, potassium and chlorides start to transport via calcium and chloride, both start to transport from vacuole into the guard cell cytoplasm. See, they start moving outside into the guard cell cytoplasm. Now the more calcium influx is done, the more chloride is transported to the cytoplasm of guard cell, the more they are transported out. The more they are transported out via potassium channel, via chloride channel. So ultimately what we see is a movement of potassium and chlorides rapidly from the guard cell outside. And as a result of this outside movement of positively and negatively charged ions, there is an osmotic imbalance created. And to tackle this osmotic imbalance, there is only way is the movement of water from the low solute concentration to the high solute concentration. And in this case, the high solute concentration is surrounding of the guard cell. So water will move from the guard cell outside via specific water transporters channels in the guard cell, which are not shown in this picture. This is what happens when there is presence of abscisic acid. And as a result of this net water movement outside, the guard cells become really flaccid, and as a result of which the guard cells overall opening becomes constricted and stomata gets closed. Now let's look at another situation when there is sunlight. When there is sunlight, the sun provides the blue light. Particularly the blue wavelength of the light interacts with the proton pump and activates the proton pump. So start to attach with ATP synthase activity, because the proton pump has a ATP synthase activity. ATP gets hydrolyzed into ADP and PI. As a result, the proton pump start to transfer protons from the guard cell outside. And as a result of this proton movement outside, there is a osmotic imbalance start to be created, and soon this potassium influx carriers also activated. Potassium start to flow inside. So potassium start flowing inside. As the potassium start to rush flowing inside, and we know during daytime the plants start producing their food. So food means glucose and sucrose and other sugars are produced. These sugars will also start their journey to move inside this guard cell via the sugar transporter. The sugar can migrate on its own via the sugar transporters, or the sugar can migrate along with a proton inside of the guard cell with a co-transport model. In both the way, there is a high flow of proton, sugar as well as potassium inside the guard cell in presence of blue light. That means in the daytime. As a result of which, again, there is an osmotic imbalance. More electrolytes, sugar inside the guard cell than outside. So as a result, water which is present surrounding the guard cell start to rush in via water channels inside the guard cell. And as a result of which, what will happen as water rushes in, this guard cell will become hugely turgid. As a result of this high turgidity of the guard cell, they open up the stomata. And this is how the stomatal opening is done in the absence of abscisic acid in the daytime. So for summary, in the abscisic acid, when it's present, the stomata will be closed. When there is no abscisic acid, the stomata will be open. The abscisic acid closes the stomata during night time, and without abscisic acid during daytime, stomata opens up.